Hi, my name's Stuart Lynch. Vibe coding is changing how developers build apps, and Xcode 27 makes the experience even better. In this video, I'll show you how I use coding agents as a development partner while staying in complete control of the process. Together, we'll build a fully functional macOS JSON Formatter app from scratch. We'll archive it and export it all in a single session. Vibe coding with agentic tools has really taken off, and with Xcode 27, it has really improved. So what I thought I'd do in this video is to first just review using coding agents in Xcode, and now Xcode 27, and then vibe code a Mac app from scratch. We will build, archive, and export the app all in this video. There will be a follow-up to this video where I'll show you how you can make your app available to others via GitHub in a signed and notarized DMG for ease of installation. So now though, let's just get started creating our app. The app that I want to create is a developer tool called JSON Formatter. It's going to allow me to either enter JSON manually, or open or drag and drop a JSON file onto the app, which will then verify and format the JSON. If it fails verification, I want to point out where that error is. So you can see that I'm running Xcode 27 Beta 4, and I'm currently still on macOS 26 on this computer. So to create a new Mac app project, let me select New Project and choose Template. I'll choose macOS and the app template for this. And I'm going to call it JSON Formatter, and I'll just save it to my desktop. Now, before I start prompting, I want to make sure that the minimum deployment target is any version of macOS 26. It's showing macOS 26.5 here because that's the version of the OS I'm on, but 26 should be good. And I'm going to set the app category to Developer Tool. Now, I'm going to be using a paid OpenAI account for this, and that's so I can use Codex without having to worry too much about limits. I just have a basic plan that is $20 US per month, slightly more in Canada. So we'll open Xcode settings, and when I select the Intelligence tab, you'll see that it is currently set up to use either a Claude agent, Codex, or Gemini. I do have a paid Claude account as well, as I'm trying to evaluate which one is better for me. But as I said, I'm going to be using Codex. So before I start, I just want to see what skills are available to me. So I'm going to open Apple Intelligence's pane by tapping this button or by using Command 0. I'm going to tap on selecting a new conversation, and I'm going to select Codex. Now, if you watched my previous videos on agentic coding, like this one, which was created when agentic coding first hit Xcode in 26.3, you'll know that I'm a big supporter of skills, and I have a section in that video that tells you how to get them and how to install them. A link is in the description. But let me see what skills I have available to me in this session. So I can just ask Codex. Well, you can see I have a lot of them. These skills here all come from Point Free, which I get them because I'm a paid subscriber. All of the ones that I mentioned in that video are here too, like the ones from Anton Vanderlee and Paul Hudson. However, Xcode uses some that are not mentioned here, and these are skills that are embedded within Xcode itself. And if you prefer to use other coding applications, you can still get the Xcode skills too, and place them in the corresponding agentic folders for that app. So to get these, though, you'll need to open a terminal application. And once that's open, you can execute an xcrun command for the agent skills, and then tell it to export to an output directory of your choice. So I'm going to export to a folder on my desktop, and that's going to be called Xcode Skills. So you can see that it generates 7 of them. So here's the folder, and inside here are all of the skills, and these are very helpful. So let's get coding, or as I like to say, let's get directing, because that's really what I'm going to be doing. The app, as I mentioned in the beginning, is a Mac app. So I have a sketch here of what I'd like the UI to look like. It's a single window app with 2 panes that are going to allow me to drop a JSON file onto the left pane and have the formatted JSON appear on the right or the error. Very simple. The key is how you ask the agent to do it. And I always recommend that you do not turn any agent loose, but rather direct it in a way that you are the driver. So I have a gist on GitHub that will give you the initial prompt that I want to use. And it's a markdown file, so you can simply download and extract the zip file. A link's in the description. Now, Xcode 27 now presents Markdown very nicely. So you can make it your own default Markdown reader. I actually prefer Typora myself, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to right-click on the file and I'm going to choose to open it in Xcode 27. It's off the screen here, but I am choosing Xcode 27. So here's the prompt. It is very specific, and I'm telling it not to write, modify, or generate any code yet. I'm just going to inspect the current project and produce a staged implementation plan. I follow this with specific requirements, and I won't bore you with reading each line, and I'll leave that up to you. But an important line is this prompt, which is the last one. Do not begin the implementation, and in the end, with a complete plan, ask me to approve it before making any code changes. So let me copy it, and let's go. If you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And be sure to subscribe to my channel and enable notifications. You can also subscribe to my newsletter that comes out on Wednesdays 2 or 3 times a month. I'll leave a link in the description. The newsletter will tell you about my current and future videos, along with other things that I discover along my coding and personal journey that I think you might find interesting. If you enjoy my content and you want to support my work, you can buy me a coffee. A link's in the description. And if you become a $5 a month monthly member, you can get access to all of my videos, sometimes up to a month before they're released on YouTube. So back in Xcode, I'm going to start a new conversation. And then to absolutely ensure that nothing is going to be coded yet, I'm going to enter plan mode with a /plan. Now the prompt references an image that I want my app to refer to, so that's the first thing I'm going to add to this prompt. That's my sketch. And then I'm going to paste in what I copied from the Markdown file. Now, throughout the rest of this video, I'm going to be speeding up significantly what Codex is doing so that I can focus on the results and my direction of the plan. But there are no edits here. You'll see everything that is being done, mistakes included. Great. We get to see the plan right here with all of the stages listed clearly. Now, I've actually vibe coded this app several times, and every time the plan is different and in a different order. But in the end, I almost always get basically the same result. And you can pause and read it more closely if you like. I would really like a copy of this plan, so let me tell Codex to do that for me. Unfortunately, it can't do that because I'm still in plan mode. And this is great, but I want to get out of plan mode now to carry on. So I can exit plan mode and then simply give it that command again. Now it can proceed. So let me see if it actually saved it. So I can get to the project root from here, and there it is. So let me open it in Xcode 27. Nice. Now I can start implementing, but I have more instructions. After each implementation stage, I want it to stop, summarize, and confirm that it builds correctly, and then tell me what I should do to verify the stage is complete. This is how I vibe code all my apps. Here we go. Again, this is greatly sped up. Okay, it's done. And it's telling me to check out the JSON formatting Swift file and then actually run the app to make sure that it still loads. Now, I recommend that you always check the code out, but I'm not going to be doing much of that in this project. If this were one that I had to maintain and put on the App Store, I definitely would. But this is a personal project that is just meeting a specific need for me, so I don't really care how efficient it is or how clean the code is. However, if you want to get into the weeds, so to speak, to understand more what Codex is doing, what you can do is you can select any text, like I'm selecting this service struct here, and then I can simply right-click and choose Show Coding Tools, and then choose Explain. And your agent will do a pretty nice job of explaining the code for you, and it is doing this in an entirely new conversation. And I can test the app out by running it and seeing that the UI has not changed. There's been no changes to the content view, the start view. So let's go back to our primary plan conversation now and tell it to move on. After completion, I'm given a summary along with some ways to manually verify it. It wants me to run the app and paste this string into the left pane. So let's try that. Great, the JSON is validated and formatted and presented in the right pane. That's what I want. Let me try some bad JSON. Great, it's telling me that there is an error, but I think I can do better than this in the presentation. We'll look into that later. So let me run one more time and paste the good JSON in again. And I'm using Alfred's clipboard manager here in case you wonder why I can get back to multiple versions of what's on my clipboard. And as you can see, I can resize the window and its panes. That's what I'd asked for. But two things bother me. First, there is no clear button. So I'm going to ask for that. And if I look at content view, I see that there's a lot of code in here with many views. And I want my files to be organized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Codex for both of those things. I want my projects to look more like what I would do myself. So I'm directing Codex as a director to make those changes for me. I'm in control. After completion, you can see that the code is now nicely organized into models, services, and views folders, and are cleanly separated. Let me run the app once more and then just type something into the source JSON pane. The clear button appears, and of course, since this is not valid JSON, I'll get the error. But now I have this active clear button. Okay, let me ask what the next stage is because I forget. Okay, that's good. So let's proceed. Okay, time to test again. There is now a dedicated observable view model. So let me copy this JSON here and just try it out. Okay, it says it isn't valid because these quotes here have turned into smart or curly quotes. So let me fix them. This isn't good. So let me ask what the next stage is. Okay, this is the file open, drag and drop. But I want to fix that output format first. So let me see if Codex can do that for me. Let me test this snippet here then. It is obviously invalid JSON. Well, that's a bit better. Let me see if I can fix this. Still getting an error. And that's because when I typed in this text, it converted my straight quote to a smart or curly quote. So I'm going to need to ask Codex to fix that for me too. Okay, let me try this code snippet here. It has some smart quotes, so I'm just going to copy it. And then when I paste it in, they get straightened out. Great. I also see that I'm getting a warning here. So let me copy this and ask Codex to fix that warning for me. Great, no more warnings. On to the next stage then. We can now test opening JSON files or use drag and drop. So I have a folder with 4 JSON files. None of the JSON is formatted. One's a very large file, one is malformed JSON, and the other 2 are okay, but not pretty printed. So let me just run the app now. I see this folder button here, and I think this means open, but I'm going to have to change that. I don't like the UI, but let's just test it. Let me open sample 1. That looks good. Let me try sample 2. That's good too. How about this malformed one? Okay, it recognizes that it's bad, but as I mentioned before, I really do have to do something about this presentation because it's not obvious to me where the error is. Now for this long one. And this is taking a while, so I have to improve the UI here. It must be straightening out those smart quotes. Okay, so file open works, but let me try drag and drop. Well, that's not right. It's only entering the path, not the content. So let's ask Codex to fix that. And let's see if it can. So let's test again. Same problem. So back to Codex. I'm going to suggest that it may be an issue with the text editor. I don't know, but it was in other versions of my Vibe coding. Well, it doesn't seem to appear, but let's just see if it's working. Good, this first drop is now working with the text editor. Let me try another one. Nope, that's not right. It's just appended to the existing JSON. Back to Codex. Time to try again. First one works. So does the second one. Let's try this long one. Again, it's taking a long time. So let me see what I can do to improve it. So back to Xcode and Codex. Well, let's see if it fixes it. Let's try now. A small one works. That's good. Now the big one. Much better. I'm getting a UI that's telling me that it's working. I better test that malformed one now too, though. Okay, it's working, but again, I don't like the error presentation. So I'm going to use CleanShot X, which is my screen capture tool, to capture just that portion of the screen and save it to a file. And now I'm going to go back to Xcode Codex and tell it to look at that file and fix up that display. I can attach an image and then tell it what I want it to do. Okay, let's test now. That's better. I'm missing a comma here. That's pretty obvious. I can fix that. Well, now this error is still not showing where the issue is really. So let me take another screenshot, save it, and I'm going to send that off for evaluation of Xcode and Codex. All right, one more try. Again, I'm going to fix that comma error as before. We still have an error, but now it's obvious that the error is at the end, and I can see I need a couple of braces. Add those, and I fixed the JSON. Okay, so what's the next stage? So stage 5 is the export stage. We're getting there. Okay, let's go. Okay, time to verify. So let me drag and drop a file on here to verify and format it. Now I can tap on the export button. Uh-oh, fatal error. So let me copy that error and send that to Codex. Well, that's not good. Xcode just crashed. All right, so let me open it again and see if I can try again. But this time I'm going to tell Xcode Codex what happened and then just ask it what I might be able to do, meaning manually. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. I can do that. All I have to do is go to the Targets, Signing, and Capabilities tab and make this read write. Okay, let's try again. I'll make sure I can format one of those files. And then when I tap on this export button, I don't want it to say formatted if it was a file opened by an open file or drag and drop. I want it to use the name of that file and then add formatted at the end. So I think Xcode Codex can do that for me. Okay, let's try that once more. That's what I want. So what's next? Okay, this is good, but first I want to remove those buttons, which isn't very Mac-like. And in fact, I don't even know that they're very distinctive as to the purpose. So what I want is to use a menu with keyboard shortcuts. So I also want to make sure that I can copy the formatted JSON as well as saving. And this might be okay as a button though. So let's go off and ask Codex to make those changes for me. Let's see. All right, the buttons are gone. So let me check the file menu. I can see there is an open option here, so let me open one. Great. The source is here and it's formatted. So now I should be able to export it. So again, I'm going to check the file menu, and there we have it. Both of those menu options have keyboard shortcuts. And it looks like I can select and copy the formatted JSON too. Now I can continue with this stage. Okay, it looks like it waited until this stage to add a dedicated copy button to the view. Actually, I kind of like it there. But let me open a large file by drag and drop. I'm going to test opening from File menu. And let me export from the File menu. This looks good. And now I see this copy button here beside the valid notification. I like that. Let me just tap on it to copy it to the clipboard. And I'm going to open my own text editor, create a new file. And if I paste, I see I get that copied JSON in that nice format. Okay, I think the final stage, stage 7, is just for testing. I think my app is just about done. And it looks like it passed all tests. Let me just run one more time and do some tests. And it's looking pretty good. I would probably do a lot more testing here and make sure that everything is working fine, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to stop vibe coding now. So we have this app, but our app really should have an icon. So now in Xcode 27, I can simply choose File, New File from Template, and then I can search for and look for Icon Composer. And when I select that, it gives me an app icon file, which is the default name used for all of the apps if you want to use this new format. And I can simply now open this Icon Composer file directly in Icon Composer right from Xcode. So we need to design our app icon. Now, I've created a menu bar app called Symbol Browser. I'll leave a link in the description. It's off the screen here now, but it's a tear-off menu bar. So let me just bring it over here. And I'm going to do a search for brace. And this is what I want to use as the primary image on my app icon. So I can simply just copy the image right from here. And then I can return to Icon Composer and then just paste it. Then I can select that image and resize it. I'm going to select the app icon itself, and I'm going to change the background color to an orange color. And let me select the braces once more and change it to a fill that is solid. And I'm going to change it to white. So this is pretty good and simple, and I think it represents JSON pretty well. Now, normally Apple doesn't allow you to use SF symbols in your app icons. But because I'm never going to be putting this on the App Store, it's not a problem for me. I can do what I want. Now, another thing I'm going to be doing, and this will be coming in the next video, is pushing this up to GitHub. And all GitHub repositories should have a README file. So I want Codex to generate that README file for me. So back in the intelligence, I'm going to create a new conversation. And I'm going to ask it for the README file to be at the project root, but not part of the Xcode project here. So off we go, and it's creating the README file. It's reading the entire project. So what I want to do is I want to see what it created. So I can get to my project root, and it's a markdown file. So again, I can use Xcode to open it. It's not my default markdown reader, but I can just right-click and choose Xcode 27. And this is actually pretty good. I could make modifications, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. I'll be able to submit this project to GitHub, which I'll do in the next video. Now, the final thing I need to do is to archive this app and get it notarized by Apple so that I can use it without running Xcode. So from the product menu, you choose Archive. And it goes off and builds and archives the app. And once it's done, the organizer window will open. And if you have a developer account, you can send that to Apple for notarization. So you select the build and choose Distribute App, but choose Direct Distribution, not off to the App Store. Once you do that, it uploads it to the App Store. And then sooner or later, the status is going to be updated to Ready to Distribute. So I can click here and choose Export App. And I'm going to export right directly to my Applications folder. So I'm going to quit Xcode entirely. And then I'm going to find my app. There it is. I can double click on it and I'm up and running. And I can test right here in a compiled and built app installed on my Mac. And as you can see, it's working just as it did in Xcode. Let me export this formatted file. Let me open it in a text editor. Great. Nicely formatted JSON. So that's it for this video. In the follow-up to this, I'll be showing you how you can create a DMG file to distribute your app and have it validated and notarized by Apple. And then I'll show you how you can make your projects available as open source on GitHub and provide the DMG with your app available as a release for GitHub, so those who don't want to build the app themselves can just download the DMG and copy the file over into their applications folder. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And also, please check out my website. You'll be able to search my full collection of YouTube videos and watch them in line. You'll also find all of my apps, not only those on the App Store, but also the free ones available on Gumroad and GitHub. And finally, you'll discover my blog posts, also fully searchable by title or keyword.